Today we go over the Star Wars franchise when it comes to The Last Jedi, written and directed by Rian Johnson. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one of the big subjects for The Last Jedi ever since it released, alright, one of the biggest pieces of criticism of the movie was, of course, the death of Luke Skywalker and exactly how the film ended. Not a lot of people liked the idea of the broom boy individual being the final shot of the movie. I don't know what your take on that is, but looking at Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, a lot of you guys have been going over the whole entire concept of Luke Skywalker quite possibly being retconned by JJ Abrams. I honestly think that would be great if he were to bring him back to life in Episode 9. However, I wanted to go over how I believe The Last Jedi could have actually ended, or should I say should have ended in the movie. Now, this is just my opinion, and if you guys either agree or disagree with it, that is perfectly fine and okay and all. But to me, the very ending of The Last Jedi, it almost felt like the ending of the sequel trilogy, the way they killed off Luke Skywalker. Now, in my version, if we were to actually end The Last Jedi while keeping Luke Skywalker alive, I think that what actually should have happened was this, where Luke Skywalker's force projection is in front of Kylo Ren, he vanishes, says "see ya around, kid," and we're led to assume that, of course, Luke Skywalker did the job. He did it well, right? So far, the movie is going the same as follows, until we reach the planet Ahch-To. We see that Luke Skywalker is exhausted, he's breathing deeply, he's looking at the beautiful sunset of Ahch-To, and he's actually thinking about the past. Tatooine, where he was born, where he grew up, and where his journey actually started. So, with that being said, I think that at that point in time, he should have stayed alive. He should have survived the force projection technique. I mean, after all, Luke did use this in the EU in the Star Wars Dark Empire comic, and he survived. So I don't know why he didn't survive in The Last Jedi. It could have been because it was a longer distance across the galaxy than how it was in the EU. I don't know. But looking at The Last Jedi, if Luke survived, they could have had him just exhausted on the rock, and then we see the Millennium Falcon coming in from the distance into the camera, and then it cuts to credits, and we are led to assume that the Millennium Falcon came back to the planet Ahch-To because Rey knew where it was. She guided them where to go, and exactly what island Luke was on. They pick him up, they bring him to whatever resistance base that they are going to, and that leaves us with Episode 9, and once Episode 9 comes out, we would assume that either Rey has been getting, training sessions from Luke if she's already a fully trained Jedi Knight in Episode 9. That would be the big assumption then. It would work because Luke was alive in between Episode 8 and Episode 9 if this scenario were to actually have happened. Or they could have had Luke in Episode 9 actually training Rey further, showing us more training sessions in the first act of the movie, throughout the third act until they both finally go up against Kylo Ren, the sinister figure leading the First Order. So I've gone over this lightly before in the past that I think that sunset shot of Luke looking out in the distance, I think that would have been the best shot to close off the movie right then and there. Keep him alive, give the fans, a little bit of imagination as to where things could possibly go. Like, if you ended it like that, a lot of fans would have said to themselves, okay, so here's the deal. Most likely Luke Skywalker's going to train her more. He's going to train her to become a Jedi Knight. Luke is alive and well. He's going to spend more time with his sister Leia. They're going to form a greater bond. And in Episode 9, we could have actually had Luke Skywalker talking with Lando Calrissian and having great scenes with Lando. In this case, that he's actually dead, we're not really going to be getting that because, well, Lando Calrissian really, doesn't have the ability to see Force ghosts, in my opinion. So, with that being said, guys, the whole concept of Luke surviving out of The Last Jedi, I think, should have been a must. George Lucas's original plan was only to kill off Luke Skywalker in his original sequel trilogy, not until the very end of Episode 9. And, of course, he would have already fully trained Leia to become a Jedi. Now, that to me sounds very true to Star Wars, and Honestly, I think that would have worked out great. But let me know what you guys have to say about what I think should have been the ending of Episode 8, The Last Jedi. What do you think about that? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about that. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.